online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppet on the Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Muppet Show tonight.
That should be longer, shouldn't it, that song? You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I am him. Listen to the Strokes, then we'll do a proper radio show right down your brain. Hard to explain, the Strokes. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2, a radio station that was set up specially for you to listen to and get information from. I'm here with Matthew Morgan. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Russell.
Are you all right today?
Very well.
Mr. G is over there. He is a poet. He is wearing a Jimi Hendrix T-shirt in case you want to envisage him. I know a lot of people envisage Mr. G to be an elderly black gentleman. He is a young, vibrant, sexy black man. You should see him sat over there caressing his chin now. We've got an awful lot of stuff going on in this show. It's jam-packed. I don't think we'll be taking any herbal drugs, will we, Matthew?
Not this week.
Because we went strange on the old herbal drugs we took last week, didn't we?
We certainly did.
We took some herbal Viagra. It didn't do us any good at all. After the show, the madness continued, didn't it? Because like, there's a bit where I whirled around with a bottle of water and threw it all over the webcam and smashed my elbow into a speaker. That really hurt. That's why I couldn't be in Jackass. That and my inability to even have a 5-minute
What did you
conversation with
do?
Johnny
You
Knoxville.
just suddenly, you flailed around, there's water everywhere, and then you sat in a chair and sulked.
I didn't sulk, I was just...
Injured.
Injured, yeah. I was really happy to communicate, but I just had to really focus on the amount of pain. Look at that bruise, can you see it? See?
Yeah.
See, that's the bruise. If you were here now, you could see a bruise. If all of you were here now, we'd all be squished. That's not to say it would be terribly wrong for you all to be here. Yeah, it went a bit mad, because of the herbal Viagras. What was extraordinary, though, in hindsight, was that when Roger Lloyd Pack, a.k.a. Trigger Actor, came in here as our special guest, he shunned the chance of reprising his role as Trigger, with me and Matt playing the parts of Del and Rodney. However, when handed an unidentifiable packet of drugs, he scoffed them and then took the rest home. Took them home, didn't he? Went over a big handful of drugs, didn't he? Well, God knows what sort of state he's in now, Roger Lloyd Pack, actor,
I bet they didn't even touch him. He didn't even notice him.
I bet he was wandering around his house with a filthy great erection, knocking into things, troubling his poor wife. I bet the pets slept outside that night. I bet it was grim. This is live. What is happening now is actually happening now. If you want to call us, you can. 0500 288 291, or you can text us on 88291, or you can email russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Just say whatever you want, or we can narrow things down to these sorts of incidents, what I'm about to discuss out of my brain now. Now, you know we went on about that ice cream van thing for ages and ages. That is actually happening next week, right? Me, Matt, G, other people associated with the show, not Mikey, however, the Scottish gentleman, as unfortunately he is serving a short, sharp prison sentence for a series of terrible crimes. No, he's not. He's just, I think he's working with Tim Westwood, isn't he? He is working with Tim Westwood.
Yeah.
I don't reckon he'll get his own page on MySpace working with Westwood. I don't reckon.
He might do. He'll have to
Westwood
change
won't
his
let him
name.
on. He'll have to change his name.
Hello, boy.
Will he? Who are you, Frankie Fraser? I don't know, you should be allowed on the radio. You
That was
should.
quite good. I wish I had that voice all the time.
Well, no, he wouldn't be able to.
He'll have to change his name.
He'll
Go
have to change-
undercover, son.
He'll have to go to cover. No, don't speak like that all the time. Well, I do like people that speak like that sometimes. It's quite nice.
Look at you kissing up to everyone in the community.
Hey, everyone.
Don't speak like that ever, but I love that voice.
Hey, I tell you what, if you do have a voice like that, don't feel like you've been left out, because I'd like to cuddle you up close. Right, so remember, next week we're going to be on the South Promenade next to Blackpool Pleasure Beach from 9 to 11. Oh, it's a pleasure beach. Do you want some pleasure? Oh, yes, please.
Are we going to be
beach.
safe in an ice cream van? I've heard
course
that
we'll be
Blackpool's
safe.
fairly rough at night.
Blackpool, mate, I done a gig there once. It was good. It's really friendly, upbeat, good-looking bird. You'll have the time of your life. It's going to be crazy. Donkey rides. I think that still happens.
At night?
If you're prepared to take a few little risks, mate. If you want to get involved, if you want to drag the nag out of the stable, get right on his back. Yeah, so we're going to actually be there. Come down there, because this is the realisation of a lifelong, well, not a lifelong dream, we're just saying we've been saying for ages. We are #1 podcast at the moment, I believe.
Yep.
So we're celebrating that. What will we do in the ice cream van? What should we do?
These are the things I want to know. Is it functional? Can it sell ice cream?
Yes, it must sell ice creams. We definitely want to sell ice cream. Give ice cream away for free. I'm really into the idea.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to use one of them Mr. Whippy machines and just whirl it all out. I've always wanted to whirl that out on a woman's boobs.
Well, maybe you'll get a chance. So that's one thing.
Whirl the boobs! Whirl
Is
the
it
boobs.
mobile? Does it drive around, or is it just...
Yes, it will be mobile, and we will
How
be driving
do you know?
around.
You're looking through the glass nervously as you say that.
Through that glass, you may see glass there, mate, but some of us see an oracle, like in ancient Athens or something. And I see through there, I see all sorts of answers. It's just like looking at a bit of a charred old crow's feet and other medicines they used to use to see the future. Go on, so you want it to be
I
mobile.
want it to be mobile,
will be mobile.
and actually be able, because we need to escape if it all goes mad.
We're
And
not just go mad. We're not the A-team. What do you think?
it's at night.
So what's night now, Matthew? Nothing weird's happening, is it? Unless you consider this little erotic display. When
When does it start becoming erotic?
When the old Winky comes out to play, and it becomes a dirty little sexy party. Look at you peering through my pug hole. That's my flies. So,
I'm trying
yeah.
to undermine. You think you're going to shock me by flashing at me? I'm just going to stare at it.
Stare at it if you like. Because what is it that some flashers, I've been learning about flashers recently on a course I was forced to go on for flashing. Have you been on a course? That's what I'm going to say.
Flashing's quaint now, isn't it?
It's charming. If someone flashed me, I think I'd be delighted and flip him a silver sixpence. Well, thank you very much for the effort. It's very nice. But there's no necessity for there to be an erection, you understand, with a
Oh no,
flasher.
I've never thought there was. I think they
Didn't
just
you?
go "Doodle-doodle-doo," and run off.
I don't think they waggle it in a fashion. I think they flash it. Like, but I mean, it is quite quaint. And if you're getting off on that, I mean, I don't know, if someone flashed me, if I was flashed female genitals, I'd just go, oh, well done.
Well, of course.
But if I was flashed male genitals, but they're not as good, are they, looking wise? I mean, I saw a documentary earlier in the week about the men having penis extension operations. I thought, well, that's a lot of trouble to go
Is
to.
it a documentary or DVD you sent off from a website that you've been in talks with?
If you really, really want your penis to be a bit longer, try getting an erection. It works every time. Almost quadruples in size.
It never goes right, does it? Penis
What's that?
extension operation.
I don't know why it exists. I don't know what the, I don't know what the
It's
benefit
just funny
is.
that you're talking about this now, and then you suddenly wear these trousers with the zip on one side now. It's as if there's been some bodged operation.
There's been no botched ops down my trousers. Hey, so listen, things you might like us to do on that pleasure beach, tell us by texting us on 88291 or phone us 0500 288 291 or email russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Tell us what you'd like to happen in that ice cream van. I say this, it will be mobile, we will be giving out free ice cream, we're staying in the north that evening, so there's going to be all sorts of sexy Lancashire adventures going on in that ice cream van. What do you want to happen in it, Matthew?
Well, I just want it to be orderly.
Orderly?
Yes.
All right, Grandad. It's not going to be orderly. It's going to be
You'll climb on the
crackers.
roof.
I will. I always climb on the roof of
Well, I
anything.
know what will happen. This is what my prediction will happen.
Go on, then.
You'll go, I want to climb on the roof, I want to climb on the roof. And then Radio 2 people say, you're not insured to go on the roof.
Yeah.
And you can't go up there. And then you'll
Yeah.
go, I'm so small-minded, Jim Morrison would have done it. Then you'll climb up there.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be pointless. And when you're up there, you'll do your classic thing of not knowing what to do and flashing.
Woohoo! Get ready for Flash! Ah! You've seen mediocre genitals? So yeah, give us a ring when you want to. Also, though, there's a few other things we've got to discuss. Noel Gallagher is coming on the show. I reckon we should ring Trigger up and say, what happened to you, mate, when you go home with them sex drugs?
Yes, we should ring him up.
We will ring Trigger up now at home. He's probably still high as a kite on sex drugs, bludgeoning his poor wife with his angry jennies. Well, I tell you what, we'll listen to a little record, then we'll do that. Noel Gallagher is, of course, coming up later. Also, Jeffrey Capes, the strongest man on the whole planet, and Budgie Breeder will be talking to us a little bit later. Also, we've got some important issues to talk about. I mean, also this. China, get out of Tibet. Get right out of Tibet. Get out out of Tibet. Also, allow people to practice the religion Falun Gong. Because every time I go past that Chinese embassy, right near where we work here at Radio 2, 88 to 91 FM, yeah, when I go by the Chinese embassy, there's these fellas and like these lasses as well, outside doing a thing called Falun Gong. It just looks like moving very slowly to me. But apparently in China, they ain't allowed to do it because the Chinese government ain't into it. So
They don't move at all.
they do, mate. You should see them just now. They were doing, like, you know, very slow
Tai
karate.
Chi.
That's it, Tai Chi. Slow karate, I call that. They were doing that outside the Chinese embassy, stood there. And then there's a board up by them saying why they're doing it. And it's just because the Chinese government won't allow people to practice Falun Gong.
Well, why
out
don't
there.
you put in a couple of days there on that patch? What?
Just think it would be boring to stand outside the Chinese embassy because it's not a very high not very high audience numbers, like only passing traffic. That's the only attention you're getting for doing it. Cold. Falun Gong does not permit you to probably have casual sex or arrogant nihilistic outbursts, so I just think I struggle doing it. But China, let people do Falun Gong. Let them do their Falun Gong. Let them do their Falun Gong. Right, let's listen to Daniel Johnston. Dream Scream. Falun Gong. Daniel Johnson, Dream Scream. Russell Brand, Radio 2. Roger Lloyd Pack.
Hello, Russell.
Hello, trigger actor Roger Lloyd Pack.
Allowed to call me that.
Roger Lloyd Pack, after you, and I don't use this word lightly, stole herbal sex drugs from our show last week, what happened to you?
Well, no, I haven't used them yet. I'm saving them up.
You took one in front of our eyes.
I know. Well, actually, I tell you what, I got home and I fell asleep.
You fell asleep.
Yeah,
Well,
I've got to admit.
I wish you had CCTV in your living room, Roger, because I bet all sorts of people took advantage of your giddy new construction while that was going on.
Yeah, no, I fell asleep, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's a shame, Roger.
That was a bit of a waste, really. But I've still got those two. I took with me, so I'm saving them up.
Nick 'em! Get them down, yeah, Rog.
Yeah, okay.
We were a bit Why don't you take them now? We'll call you up at the end of the show and listen to you coping with.
I'm about to eat some fish now. I might take them later.
Better not be a euphemism, Roger. Not until you had them lovely tablets. Did you mention to Emily my interest, my romantic interest?
I haven't
in her?
mentioned it yet, but I'm going to do that. No, I've had a really busy week. I'm not in town.
So busy you can't mention something to a daughter.
I know. I'm feeling bad about it now. I'm going to speak to her tomorrow.
Ring her up, Rog.
I will.
Also, a lot of people were surprised that you wouldn't do an impression of your most famous comic creation, Trigger, and yet would take unidentifiable sex drugs on the recommendation of two former troubled young men.
Well, you mentioned it was herbal, and, you know, I've got a lot of experience with herbal, and it's sort of... You don't hardly notice it, really, do you?
No, I suppose not. I suppose not.
We did.
Me and Matt did, actually. We
Did
carried on like a right couple of jackasses.
Did you? You probably took loads of them.
No, we had as much as you, Roger.
Really?
Yeah. Roger, have a word with Emily, will you?
I will.
All right, then. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.
Hey,
All right,
good luck
then.
with your play. Dealer's Choice.
Dealer's Choice.
Dealer's Choice, starring Roger Lloyd Pack.
It's about poker. It's a poker play.
It will be. Won't the amount of sex drugs you pop, dirty devil. Talk to you later, Roger.
All right, bye-bye.
There he goes, old Roger Lloyd Pack.
Makes us look pretty bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we were like a couple of shipwrecks after that. Roger Lloyd Pack just went home and went to sleep. Me and Matt thought we were lizard kings. We were out of
Maybe
control.
he wasn't asleep, he just blacked out.
He blacked out.
He was running around London.
He's very lucky he didn't choke on his own sick and die a terrible death. Trigger died today in what can only be described as an overly dramatic way. This is from Simon Ludgate. You are very funny on the wireless, but do the BBC know you're on? Bloody cheek from you, Ludgate. Yes, they do. They pay our wages and occasionally they bring us here. Hello, Russell and Matt, says Rosie. If you want to learn more about flashers, all you need to do is go to Blackpool on a Saturday night. Good.
Well, we are.
We are going there. Oh, they do flash us. That can be one of our things that we do.
Yeah, but if it's done by a crowd, it's not a flashing, it's just a sunshine or a moonie, isn't it?
Yeah, all right.
It's got to be done in the woods.
If it's done in the woods, that is a sex crime. If you do it out in the open en masse, it's actually an event. Right, so here's a few of the things that I want to mention. Stables Market in Camden, North London, London where we live. They're closing down this market. I think we don't want it being closed, and we think it might be a corporate commercial enterprise. I think we're against it. Now, because this is the BBC, everything I say must be balanced out. So on one hand, Is it wrong to let corporations take over our public spaces and slowly deplete our freedom to congregate? That's one hand. Or is it bloody good business, a bit of a laugh? Whoop, boop, ba-doo, boops. So you make your own mind up, because I've given both sides of the argument now. But tomorrow will be the last day.
Can I have one? Maybe I could have one opinion, you have the other opinion.
All right, then. What are you going to be?
I think I'm against it being turned into a
shopping centre.
Shopping centre.
Turn it into a shopping centre! Turn it right into one! Don't stop when it's nearly one and think we've done enough. Go right the way through to it's a shopping centre, and it's got absolutely no individual character. I know young, what's her face, young Nash, Katie Nash, she done something, didn't she, down there?
Did
She
she?
done a gig to help it. Yeah, but they're still going to close it. I think tomorrow's its last day, so if you are in the area, yeah, it's over tomorrow. So that's it. We people that live near Camden, like me, Matthew, we can't go down there and get jeans.
And Russell's been down there so many times in the past year.
I don't know how much of my life I spend down there just, you know, chatting with the Barra boys, just doing a lamp of water.
So you get all your Dior jeans from these days.
I mean, you know, you get a very good bargain on Dior jeans, you can get some lovely bejewelled skulls, block wallpaper.
You can get bejewelled skulls.
What?
Not designer ones.
Oh, fair enough then, because otherwise I'd be down there like a shot. That's why we need a shopping centre full of bejewelled skulls. So yeah, go down there tomorrow if you want to. I'd think, why don't we arrange a great big protest as it's the last day? Everyone go down there and just keep flashing.
How long?
Identify yourself. We'll be a proper flash mob. Instead of being a flash mob like we appear in a flash, be a flash mob. If you're a man, get your bum out. If you're a girl, get your boobs out, yeah? Or you can switch it round if you like.
Look how long it took us to organise the ice cream van.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen by tomorrow, is it?
We might. All we've got to do is do that.
We're right behind you. You do it first.
I'll get my bum out, mate. I'll get
know
out
you will.
whatever you want me to get out. Ain't nothing on my body that I won't happily get out at a moment's notice. Anything. So actually, I spoke to some trader, or actually John Rogers, who is a friend of the revolution, did speak to a market trader, and he said that I can work on his stall for a bit tomorrow, or his shop or something. I can work in it for half an hour.
hope you do that.
I'm going to go down there, but only if I'm frequently flashed at by people's bums and boobs. Like blokes flashing at me, women flashing, just loads of flashing. That's
It's when things like that happen, I think we do need another shopping centre.
what, because of all this?
Because that sounds unruly.
It does sound a bit unruly, all these people getting their bums out. So yeah, text us about that if you want a shopping centre, or if you want more, I don't know, markets. Up to you. Have a balanced view if you like.
But hang on, didn't
What?
Spitalfields do that, and they still got the same? They've still got a bit of market. and
They
a bit-
nosed it right up. Spitalfields Market in East London, where I used to live, they changed that into, like, from it used to be sort of a lovely market, right, and it was sort of publicly owned, and then they turned it into a privately owned thing. One of the companies, I think they were called Balfour Beatty, one of the developers. Now it's just a drag down there. But remember, BBC Balanced View, it's nice down there. All nice down there. It is right nice. So, yeah, you know, it's up to you. You might want to come down there. I'll be down there between, I don't know, I'll go down there around 11:30. I'll go there at 11.
And it's
I'll,
1 o'clock in Russell Brand time.
yeah, because there's a 1 in 11, 2 ones, so I'm just obeying one of them ones. And I'll go down there and work in this bloke's store. We'll have him on the phone a little bit later. So yeah, text us your views on that, 88291. Email russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. You might even know more about it, because, you know, let's be honest, I ain't researched it, have I? You know me, I can't concentrate on something that's not about ultimately orgasms or showing off. Right, here's some important interesting things that happened. 1. Matt Morgan was round my house eating some food. He ate them little baby sweet corn things and goes, isn't it amazing that these baby sweet corns can be eaten at both extensions of their existence, as in their seed form like they are now, the baby sweet corn,
Didn't say
and then
seed form.
when they're grown up to be adult sweet corns. And everyone round went, they're not the same thing, you idiot. These little baby sweet corns don't grow into adult sweet corns like a family
I
of
think
sweet
they
corns.
might do.
They don't, because then what's a green sweet corn when it's like not properly ripened?
The only thing that stops me thinking it is it comes to a point, whereas normal sweet corns are both flat-ended.
And they've got that green husk around them. Where's that
How
husk?
do you know that hasn't been pulled off the baby sweet corn?
How do you know it's not been done? It's not a conspiracy, Matt. There's not a conspiracy to try and trick us into believing things about baby sweet corns. So perhaps you'd like to text us stupid things you believed in your ignorance on 88291.
Or, if that is
Russell.brand@bbc.co.uk.
correct, please let us know.
if it is correct, do let us know.
Why
but
have you
it
written
ain't.
that down? A little comment I make.
Yep.
And it goes in your little rat book.
Goes in my
Little bit of paper is pulled out.
Other things that Matt has been up to this week. Matt had grave doubts about whether he was a real man when he started to find pictures of men on the internet arousing. He never felt those feelings. Now then, and they wouldn't have those connotations anyway, so who cares about anything? Right, and there's another what's the other important thing I've got going about? Oh yeah, I met this bloke the other day, right, and he was like, I was just chatting to him, had a bit of a chat, it was going alright, he was an interesting sort of a fella. Then, like, 5 minutes into the chat, after we've been getting on quite well, just strangers talking, he went, anyway, I mostly know what you do because through your mum, Jo Brand. And I thought, should I tell him that I'm not Jo Brand's son or not? And he was still talking. No, she's very good, your mum. She's very good. What's she doing now? And I just went, busy doing a new series. I thought I'd just let him think it. Why not? He goes, oh, well, give him my card. I will. And then that bit, I was just like, to imagine what my life would be like if I was Jo Brand's son and that. And
People go, he's only got there because of his mum.
yeah. And I hadn't. I got it because of all my hard work.
You have to go, oh, men are awful, aren't they? My son,
Yeah.
he's the worst.
Yeah, she'd have to include that in her act. Why wouldn't she have ever mentioned it? And why haven't I mentioned it? What a strange and crazy world it is. Later on, we will have Noel Gallagher on the show. And we'll be telling you some things that happened when we went to David Williams' party last week, 'cause we did go to after the show. It's quite interesting. I don't mean it in an exclusive way. Oh, that we went to his party. It's just something funny happened. We'll let Noel Gallagher say it, though, so that we don't get in any legal trouble. Right, let's listen to Cigarettes and Alcohol, Oasis.
Oh, no.
Come on,
Keep
to
that up.
celebrate Noel. He wrote it. He must have sat down somewhere with his foot locked in a shed or something. I believe what happened. He got his foot locked in a shed and he just thought, right, I don't want to be a builder no more. I'm going to sit down and write this out. And then he wrote it out, and then Oasis happened. And the rest is, well, it's history, isn't it? Cigarettes and Alcohol, Oasis, Noel Gallagher, Liam Gallagher, they are in that group. This is some things that have been suggested to us by people, things that we should do while we're in Blackpool, which we will be next week between 9 and 11 on the South Promenade, next to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Come down there, support us, we want to create... This could be a key point in the revolution, is what I'm saying. Here's some of the suggestions for ideas of stuff we should do. Look at this person. Minnie Thompson, or Tomo. Love Tomo Tompo and Minnie Tomps. This is who this is from. Tomo Tompo and Minnie
Well,
Tomps.
I've lost respect for them. All that.
Hey Russ, I think you should get Octopig to serve ice creams at the Pleasure Beach. We cannot get Octopig to do that. I think Octopig is dead. This is from Lauren. If my mum brings you to Blackpool next week, will you come on the Infusion ride with me, please? If you are too scared, will you come on the Derby Racer horses instead? Because they're not too scary. I will buy one of your ice creams. Love from Lauren, age 11.
Are there rides there?
There's rides, baby!
I want to go on a ride.
We're going on the rides. After we've done the show, we are going to Pleasure Beach. If they let us all in for nothing, we'll get into all sorts of adventures there. Roller coasters. What's the one called? Infusion, is it called? Did it just say?
That sounds wrong. That sounds
It
like
sounds like Twinings tea. Other teas are available. Just sounds like a sort of posh tea. You wouldn't name a ride after that, because it would just be a ride we went, oh, well, that's been wonderful.
Wonderful Infusion.
Thank you very much. I've had a very pleasant afternoon. That would be, that's
We're
not...
going round again.
Oh, jolly good.
Whee!
Oh, crikey. But there is a ride called the Teacups. So, in fact,
teacup ride.
it doesn't represent the experience of having a teacup at all accurately, does it? Because you
No, what idiots.
because you whirl round. It's dangerous. When you have a cup of tea, you just sat down watching a telly all
What?
day.
So hang on. If you imagine you were a sugar cube, you dropped in
Okay,
a cup of tea and
yeah.
it was stirred.
I'm imagining it, man, because
Yeah?
I'll tell you what, you won't lose me, because I will go on that journey with you, Matt Morgan. I will be that sugar cube,
What
yeah?
I don't like is the teacups have a door on the side that's just a big cutout that you walk into the teacup.
Yeah, maybe that's for the spoon. You could put the spoon
No,
in
no,
that.
it's like there's a cup, but with just a hole in it where you step in.
Yeah, that's true. That's nothing like a cup, because how would the tea be retained inside it? This ride is inaccurate. Plus, a house of horror. If you had a house that was full of horror, what on earth would you put a train through it, running in it, making stops off at some of the things you'd be anxious to conceal, like skeletons made of luminousness?
They're rubbish, aren't they, ghost rides?
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
I went on one once, it said on the wall, it will tear your soul apart. Right? I went on it, It was the most. It was badly kept, and it
It was badly kept.
They hadn't bothered with it. There was bits of it where they'd left the lights on in bits, and it's
Oh,
just,
so
with
it's
the
just
lights on in there, it's rubbish. It goes.
Was that
and you
bit a bit
rattle
scary,
through.
or was that the noise of the train?
No, it goes. It has like an alarm noise. You know the noise.
Oh, yeah.
As you go in. Yeah, no, not that.
It is. It's
Have you ever left your house? And then guess what? At the last minute, as you went through the last set of double doors, bang into the daylight. Again,
Yeah, what
it said REM on the wall.
Oh, yeah, that's nothing to do with anything. R.I.P. Maybe.
But REM.
Just was it a reference to the band R.E.M.?
Yeah, well, it looked
Or
like
rapid eye
it was
movement.
REM written in sort of drippy red blood paint.
R.E.M.
And then when I got out,
will Michael Stipe do next?
then I got out and I laughed about the fact that it said it will tear your soul apart. I then started to think maybe that will,
Yeah, maybe
but it'll
it's,
take a few months.
maybe it's doing it in a subtle way. Maybe because how's your soul feeling lately?
I don't know if I've got one.
It's been shattered and torn to shreds by R.E.M. Shiny happy people holding hands. So, yeah, it won't ever tear your soul apart. We will go on those rides. I once went on a sort of a thing at Universal Studios, right? It was called Van Helsing's House of Horror or something. Well, it was horrifying, right? Because you go in it and what it is, it's not like a sort of like R.E.M. and band names written on the wall and eerie slogans like "We'll tear your soul apart." Like actors just leap out at you, so you can't help but be scared. It's dark in there. You're walking through like a sort of a darkened corridor. You can't really properly see. Then an actor just comes like "Ah!" and he's dressed as Dracula or Frankenstein or someone. But that ain't the point. If he dressed as Doris Day and jumps out behind you, it's going to freak you out, isn't it?
Yeah.
It don't matter who he dressed as.
When was that? What age were you?
Last year. It was someone jumps out at you.
Last year.
Well, I don't know. I was in Hollywood. I can't remember what was going on. I was over there for something. It was on holiday. It was 3 or 4 years ago when I went over there. I went on holiday with a girl over Christmas to
Right.
Hollywood land. Yeah, it's bonkers, actually.
I've been to the one in Florida.
Have you? What's that? What, Disney World?
No, well, Universal. There's a few.
Right,
Those
right,
rides
right.
are pretty good, aren't they? Because there's like a big. You're in an earthquake and then you go underground and stuff.
Yeah.
A lorry blows up.
Sounds like an earthquake that you're in, Matthew. I mean, there's a sort of a hurricane called something like Betty. Listen to this. I was flashed outside the BBC in Manchester by a funny-looking ginger man in a knitted jumper. Is he one of your colleagues? Yes.
Mikey.
That's Mikey. That's why he's been sacked. I reckon no, he's not. He's working for Tim Westwood. Things are going well. Although, you know, God knows, Tim Westwood will be dragging him out on some sort of lifestyle that he can't cope with. I reckon you sell Mr. Whippy with a J-Lube topping from the van. He'll slide right down. What is J-Lube?
I don't know. I imagine it's something next to your bed.
J-Lube. Is it a sexual thing? We're not putting that in an ice cream, you pervert, Matt from Bournemouth. Chain yourself to some railings at Camden Market tomorrow. I will not. This is a flashing
You've done a
protest.
few protests in your life, haven't you?
I'm always
You
protesting.
changed yourself to the railings at West Ham.
I did do that.
What was that over?
I believe I would like a new shirt. No, what it was over is that fans being able to stand up at matches. I'm not that bothered actually. I quite like sitting down, but I think people who want to stand up should be able to at football.
So it had an effect.
They are bringing back some standing areas in a lot of Premiership grounds. They're reviewing it and looking at it as long as it can be done safely. The campaign for safe standing continues. A lot of people, when they look at why this legislation has been pushed through, say, do you remember that day Russell Brand chained himself to some railings outside West Ham? I mean, remember it? That's what got me involved in this whole legislative procedure. And then they also stand up and go, God bless you, Mum, and salute a oil painting of me on the wall where I'm wearing a little crown. Hey, Russ, Matt G and everyone else, I'm a regular listener, so I know you don't normally do requests, but can you please play some Red Hot Chili Peppers? By luck, there is one in there, so we'll play that for you, yeah?
It's next.
Well, you eerie little guy. It was going to happen anyway, but we're dedicating it to you, but your name's not on there, so you'll never know that well, you'll know, but no one else will ever know. Hello, Russell and Matt. You should paint Moomins, rainbows and Smurfs on the side of your ice cream van and sing the Cocoa Pop tune over the tannoys and act as Pied Pipers for the revolution. I do like that idea. Can we have Moomins and Smurfs painted on the side of our ice cream van, please? And can we send Mr. Nibs to Moominland? Because he's not supposed to be here. Mr. Nibs is a servant
Well,
of
he's
our
still
show.
in this country.
He's not anywhere near Moominland. Nowhere near it. Get to Moominland, young man. Hello, Russell and Matt. I'd like to say that I think you're both bloody sexy, and it is wrong for nasty corporations to drive everyone into a consumerist ideology. Seems a lot of people don't want that market to close, but this is BBC, so I provide balance. Some people do want it to close. For God's sake, are they insane? They're trying to erase individuality. Aren't there enough top shops yet? It's so stupid. But for a bit of balance, No, there are not enough top shots. There's the old balance. All nice and balanced up, nice and tight. Right. There's been an incident. There has been an incident somewhere in the world, and here's some information about it now. Bad gorilla, Coco, bad gorilla. 3 former caretakers for Coco the talking gorilla contend in a lawsuit that they were ordered to flash their breasts at the ape to satisfy a nipple fetish. On one occasion, the lawsuit says Gorilla Foundation president Penny Patterson told the gorilla, Coco... Well, apparently, what seems to be going on is that there's a gorilla asking people to see if he can see their nipples.
I think you've been hoodwinked again.
I've not, actually. Where's the proper article? There is it, I swear to God. Where is that thing? Here, look, listen to this. Listen to this.
Gorillas don't
before you
know
doubt
what
me.
boobs are.
They do, mate. Hey, Russell, Matt and Mr G, says Dan in Trowbridge. I'm a student. Why would a student lie? He's trying to learn. And recently, whilst completing some work, do you see how studious this guy is? How diligent, how focused? I innocently stumbled across a Wikipedia page on Coco the gorilla, where I found a particular section to be in similarity with the sexual antics of the filthy dolphin mentioned on your show earlier this year. Well, actually, that dolphin married the woman that he was having sex with, so it turned out that it was all right, because...
They never had sex, she just married a dolphin.
What, that she's not even had sex with? Well, it's going to come as a bit of a shock when that dolphin suddenly
That's
goes...
the bit you think's weird about it. She hasn't even had sex with him.
Hold on, you're marrying this dolphin, you've not had sex with him. Well, let me tell you something, sex is a vital part of any marriage, particularly to a dolphin. So I suggest you get yourself a snorkel. Listen to this then. Right. Coco, the gorilla, has been involved in several sexual harassment lawsuits. At least 3 former employees, all female, have claimed that they were pressured into showing their breasts to Coco.
By Coco.
Listen, Matthew, if
What's
you
he
listen to
doing?
the
Mime?
story, I can help you. I can't help you to understand Coco if you don't listen to the information I'm trying to give you. They alleged that Dr. Patterson, the gorilla's handler, encouraged the behaviour, often interpreting Coco's signs as requests for nipple display. Oh, I think he wants to see some nipples again. No, it just looks like he's eating a banana. No, he always does that when he wants to see some lovely nipples, especially to get them out because he could go mad and eat his young. He hasn't got any young. Just get your boobs out, for God's sake.
And he's been in... So sexual harassment suits have been brought against it.
Send us more information, listeners, because we need to know more about this. He listens to this and he goes, he often interpreted Coco's signs as requests for nipple display and let them know, these women, that their jobs would be in danger if they did not indulge Coco's nipple fetish. Coco has been known to playfully grab both male and female nipples without warning or provocation. Why would anyone provoke a gorilla into grabbing their nipples? Hey, Coco, if you fancy a fruity better nipsy whipsy, come this way.
Why are they in there with their nipples out? Gorillas are dangerous.
I know, Matthew. That's one of my... I've understood this about gorillas for some time. It's made clear in films like Gorillas in the Mists. That made it very clear. King Kong. Look how he carried on. First sign of a pretty face. It went all mad, didn't he? Went all proper barking. So, yeah, well, I don't know why they're in there. I imagine these ones where he's playfully grabbed them through their... maybe he did it through their clothes. You know, maybe he just knew that that's where a nipple would be. You know, he's a smart little monkey.
What was that thing they used to do at school, didn't they?
What, nipple twists?
Nipple cripple. Go, nipple cripple! And they grab your nipple.
They did used to do that, Matt, and they were quite wrong. And I was against them, and they're... Well, I mean, if any listeners have got crippled nipples, I apologise for Matt Morgan's language. However, in the interest of balance, I do not apologise. Right,
turn your phone off, Russell.
Why the hell has this happened?
Now that you've got the same phone as me.
I got the same phone as Matthew, out of what can only be described as childish jealousy. But hold on, let's just see what else happens. Dr. Patterson claims that Coco uses the word nipple to refer to humans. So why is he making everyone get their nipples out? Because he could just be saying he wants to see a human. All claims of harassment have been permanently dropped as of the 21st of November 2005 after the foundation and parties involved reached a settlement. Well, there you are then. So don't lose hope.
Obviously, Mr. Patterson's to blame.
Do you blame Patterson? Can you please send us more information on this? Find out if you're listening to us on the internet. Please find out more about Coco.
Also,
find out about Mr. Patterson. We need to know.
If a gorilla has uttered the word nipple,
yeah,
that's
not
massive news.
No, he's not uttered it, has he? Uttered the word nipple.
That's what he says. He uses the word nipple for humans, and he goes, Coco,
uses the word
gorilla. It says
talking as in the sense of signing. He can do signs. Loads of monkeys can do signs. We know about that already, don't we? we? We know monkeys can do signs. We've learned about that already.
Right, come on, let's play the Chili Peppers.
All right, play the Chili Peppers. Then we come back. We'll be talking to possibly Jeff Capes. I don't know, what else could we be doing?
Well, I want to
Jeff
know more
Capes.
about that nipple gorilla.
Right, we're going to find out about this nipple gorilla by talking to Jeff Capes, the strongest man in the whole effing world. Here's the Chili Peppers for you, mystery boy. Cabron, Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is Russell Brand on Radio 2. We're coming up to a bit of newsy-poosy in a little bit of time, but before that we've got time for my new item. Russell Brand's Sexy Circus. Say you want to go out with say you've got an unusual fetish, like you really want to go out with someone who's really unusual or something. Phone up, I'll find you one. Russell Brand's Sexy Circus.
What? How's it work?
Say you, for example, goes...
No, not me.
No, yes. You want to go with, like, say, someone that, like, had a co-joined twin. I go, all right, mate, I'll get you one. And then I'll just go, who's got a co-joined twin and wants to go with Matt? And then I'll get them for you.
Brilliant.
It's Russell Brand Sexy Circus. Ring us now on 0500 288 291
This could run and
FM.
run.
Of course it could. It's Russell Brand
We've
Sexy
never
Circus.
this always happens. What about that gay bloke last week who wanted to go out for bear?
Oh, yeah, that ended in a lot of heartbreak.
Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes! We're getting Jeff Capes. Now, Jeff...
And let's not offend Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes, I don't know if he's gay or not, but I'd always assumed not.
I'd say not.
I'd say not, but we don't know. Maybe Jeff Capes can be persuaded by the offer of a little lad called Tim, I believe he's from Bournemouth, who's well up for it. So, you know, I mean, how not gay would you have to be to turn down some definite sex? You know? If you have gone, no, I'm really, really not gay. Because, like, say me, I'm not gay. But if little Tim wants to have it off, well, why not? Give it a try. Who's to say it might not be a life-changing experience? On the subject of stupid belief systems, because remember, Matt stupidly and wrongly believed...
Have we had any emails about that?
Yeah, here's one. This is from Sam. Matt is largely right on the question of baby corn, says Sam. Baby corn are grown by harvesting corn early, and although it's a different strain of corn from the normal sweet corn we buy in shops, it would grant something very similar, including the green husk if it were left alone. I love the show, keep up the work. Hold on, but look at this one from Steve.
Made up one.
Matt is very wrong about the sweet corn because it's a stupid thing to believe.
Did Steve write that?
Steve's pen has skidded across the page. Anyway, in the interest of balance, we can happily say that it says it's a different strain, Matthew. It's a different strain. You idiot. Don't you know anything about straining and the strains?
It says that I'm right.
No, it doesn't. It says this is just
I'm
that
not fully
person's
right, but I'm more right
decided-
than you. What did you think it was?
It's a different plant, which is what it is. It's similar. I mean, it's the same colour. It's got little bits in it. But in that film Big, when Tom Hanks goes to a banquet and he's confused because he's actually a child, he picks up one of them and eats it like it's a proper corn on the cob, like people do in cartoons, eating it in rows. And that is used to demonstrate his idiocy and childishness. And idiocy and childishness that you've demonstrated as an actual 30-year-old man. Unless you are a
Idiocy and
child who
childishness.
made a wish to be a grown-up man and now work with me. Which is something I'm starting to believe is the reality
You're
behind this
idiot and a
relationship.
child. All
How?
your references are from things like in Back to the Future, in Big. They're all 80s children's films. Everything you know comes from 80s children's films.
I believe, Matthew.
Ghostbusters. I think you'll find that the ghost in the library...
He first emerged from a book by Dan Quayle, former vice president who couldn't spell patata. Listen here, actually, because Graham, who works here on this show, being in charge of, well, Matt is ostensibly in charge of buttons. I've stopped saying that because he does so very little with the buttons. Graham is like a button overlord. He just told me that as a child, he believed that cats were female dogs. That he thought that they were the same species, but the cats are the girl ones.
That doesn't say much for their gender relationship.
Whose gender relationship? This
Cats and
species
dogs
that he
are
imagined
fighting.
here. You're fighting like cats and dogs!
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, I'd like to find out a bit more about Graham's family background. Imagine it would make very disturbing listening. My dad told me, said Lydia, that there was a man with neat handwriting who sat at the end of the Cadbury production line writing Cadbury onto each individual square of chocolate. I believed him till I was 13. Oh,
what a
Lydia,
lie.
you lived in a world of lies. Until not long ago, I thought that off the back of a lorry was meant in the literal sense and queried with a friend that lorry drivers ought be more careful, says
I thought
George
things like
Clay. Thought
I thought the black market was a place you could go to.
What do you mean? You thought, oh, we're going down the
Get
black
it
market.
on the black market. It's
I
want to go there.
Oh, it's a dark, nocturnal place where you can get something. Hi, Russell and Matt. I used to believe that limes were juvenile lemons. Actually, are they? Says Gary from Brighton. You still believe it? No.
Yeah, but you can see why I'd think that.
Because it... Why?
It's green. Things are green before they go and become yellow. And they're the same sort of thing.
Things are green before they come yellow, like traffic lights and banana splits. You silly oaf. Why don't you write a song for Sesame Street? Russell, I love you.
tried.
You are my idol. Thank you. My friend thought that seahorses were made-up mythical creatures like unicorns till she was 16, says Sophie in Northern Ireland. Quite magical, really, though.
They are pretty mad.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you didn't know elephants was real and then someone just produced one, you go, wow, well, good work. How on earth did you keep it under your petticoat? I'd be enormously impressed.
The
by it.
seahorses they're not like any other thing in the sea.
They're not, are
Gone
they?
on
'Cause
their
there's
own
not like
evolutionary
a...
journey.
There's not a sea, for example... Well, there is a sea cow, but it don't look nothing like a cow. And there's not a sea skyscraper.
Don't get hung up on the word horse in
Hold
seahorse.
on, no, I am. Because it is a lot like a horse. It's got the same shaped head as a horse. I mean, say that there
It's
wasn't
not related to a horse.
Well, listen, mate, you think that sweet corn and baby sweet corn are the same thing. You probably think, once a horse probably went into the sea and then it learned to swim off of Aquaman, and that's why it's a seahorse. So that's the sort of thing that you go around believing. The seahorse, I believe, is unique among marine animals because it lies all the time. Oh, this is Skinny. I love Camden Market. They can't take it away or I'll cry because something odd, all sorts of weird. You're a legend there. For my birthday, I bought loads of crazy clothes using that text language that teenagers use. Now listen, young man, you've alienated us with your bizarre use of the number 8 and Zebs. But thank you for your support of Camden Market. But in the interest of balance, shut it down. Yo, Matt and Russ, you were talking about Whippy earlier. Did you know that Margaret Thatcher had a hand in inventing Mr. Whippy, as she used to be a chemist? No, I don't know that, and I don't believe it either, that Margaret Thatcher invented Mr. Whippy.
What's a chemist? What if chemists, they're always on that little raised platform just doing stuff up there?
Yeah, up there.
Aloof.
Elevated
They're
from us.
inventing ice cream.
That's all they're doing up there. They need that space and height for these poxy contributions to the world. OK, right, we are going to have a bit of news now. Out of the news, we're going to be talking to...
Arta.
Out of the news...
I thought you meant out of the nose.
I did say Arta. Out of the news, we're going to be talking to Jeff Capes about his inhuman, beastly strength and budgerigar breeding, how he got into that. I'm quite interested in that. We'll ring up Noel Gallagher later. Also, why aren't we talking to any normal people? Should we talk to some normal people?
They don't seem to ring us.
They do. It's just Nick. He hangs the phone up on them. Nick, produces the car. Car? Well, whatever this is. I think because it gets driven, it's like a car. Anyway, I think them drugs, they've damaged my brain. Have you noticed? Mind you, I done some stand-up the other night. It's brilliant. Right, come on then. Let's go to the old news. News! Here is the news!
And here is the 10 o'clock news now. This is Andrea Simmons.
Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
Richard Hammond hosts Bank Holiday Breakfast from 7 o'clock.
Being nicknamed after what is essentially a fat, tailless mouse whose only trick is it can hide its lunch in its face in case it gets peckish later on and dies unexpectedly just to upset your kids.
On 88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2.
They all looked cross at me when I did that.
Richard Hammond! Listen to his radio show! All right, in the interest of balance, don't listen to it. Listen to something else. No, he sounds nice, doesn't he?
He bounced back from that crash.
He bounced right back, didn't he? That done him the power of good, that brush with death, didn't it?
I saw him on telly saying, when he went on Jonathan Ross, he said he couldn't feel feelings or couldn't have memories or
What do
something.
you mean he can't feel feelings? If you go to him...
No, he couldn't.
Richard, that trail was poorly constructed and the backing music made him want to be sick. He'd just go, I don't give a
He wouldn't care.
what you say,
Just
mate.
look out the window.
I'm just a survivor. I'm a survivor. I can't do it. But I think I'd like Richard Hammond. It's
What
nice,
if he,
isn't it?
like, after that, like, every now and again, he just, like, swears?
I'd
Just
like
shouts
it.
out a swear word.
Yeah, I'd just go, we've got to let him off. Because he's about to brush with death. What if, like now, he's addicted to brushes with death? And, like, he'll just start smashing his head into things, taking incredible risks sexually.
His agent will go, Richard, you haven't had a brush with death for a while.
Yeah, he'll go, right, I'll just have a brush with death. Why don't you just, I don't know.
Have you ever had a brush with death?
Yeah, I've always brushed him if it was a younger man. Oh, scarcely. Hanging around crack houses, you're likely to have a brush with death there. I once got that's really funny, I was just telling an anecdote about a brush with death in a crack house, and someone passed me a note that says in capital letters, Jeff Capes is on the line. Just says that. Makes my brush with death in a crack house seem senseless. There was a prostitute arguing with a pimp, and I just was sort of got involved a little bit in it. And I
This
thought,
isn't the time with the tiny gun.
no, that wasn't a tiny gun story. I was once shot at with a tiny gun as well. Like, the bullet sort of went ping! But still, I was involved in a shooting. So, there you go, Richard Hammond. Just a boring car crash. Me, crikey. All right, OK, Jeff Capes is on the line. Hello, Jeff Capes, are you there?
Yeah, you're mad. You're absolutely mad.
Well, you say that, Jeff, but I didn't spend my whole life picking up great barrels of beer and all those antics you were involved in for a job.
God, dear, you're dead right there, mate, yeah.
It's lovely to talk to you, Jeff.
Yes.
So were you aware at the time of your fame was pretty expansive, and I don't know how much it affected you. Just at my school, for example, Jeff Capes was a byword for strength. Who do you think you are, Jeff Capes? People would say.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? You know.
Was you married at the time, or are you married? Is that the thing? Because we was wondering whether or not you're gay earlier.
What, now?
People said that you're not gay, but I just thought perhaps you are.
No, I'm not gay, mate. I have a partner now. I was married.
Oh, yeah. Was you married at a time when you was the strongest man in the world?
No.
Was you taking advantage of your position as a strong man by having lots of really strong sex? Yeah.
That's a rather pointed question to ask, isn't it?
Well, you could just say, mind your business, Russell, or you could go, yeah, I was actually. I was using
you can get away with different moves, you know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Because, you being strong and all that.
Yeah, I know, it must be brilliant, because you could pick people up and carry them. Are there strength groupies? Were there women that go, oh, he's so bloody strong, if I could perch myself on his knee?
Yeah, I suppose there was. There were... times, I suppose, you should throw a few bras and knickers at you to sign and all that. But,
through bras and knickers, they're difficult to sign as well, aren't they? Because there's moisture and the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose there was, yeah. I've never thought of it like that. I've never thought of it like that.
What have you not thought of, like what, Jeff, you big strong pervert?
These groupie things, I mean, if you stars, you do all that, and all the rock groups and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I do get bras thrown at me, but where I'm not that strong, it sometimes hurts a bit. Because I've not got the strength to absorb it up. Right, Jeff, how come though, right, I know you're a big man, you always look like sort of a normal bloke. How come you're like, sort of, say for example, like a bodybuilder or something, they look like they're made in a factory, whereas you, Jeff Capes, look like a normal bloke, you look like you drank beer and that. While that was going on.
Yeah, well, I suppose in a way, I was a natural sort of guy, I was one of 5 brothers and we're all the same,
all sexy brothers. There should be a musical about you and your brothers. There should be a musical called The Capes Brothers.
7 brothers type thing,
that type thing, Jeff, but that would be difficult because then you'd be in direct competition with that already existing musical. This would be 5 brothers, right? And you're the strongest one of them and the others all have another superpower. One can see through walls, just different powers. One can make fire come out of his hand, maybe. Just different powers. The Capes Brothers.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. Jeffrey Capes. What other things do I need to know? Now, Jeff, is it true that now... did you get into much fights when you was the strongest man in the world?
Never got into fights at all. The hardest thing is obviously to walk away from. The easiest thing is to get into them.
Right, because I suppose you could use your massive strength to perhaps punch someone.
Yeah, it's always a problem. You got the finger pointed at you a bit in the pubs and that. And,
the finger? They pointed a finger at you, Jeff Capes?
Yeah, like you could check you on type thing, but you had to walk away, didn't you?
That's a bold policy.
Capabilities,
What, they go, I might try and take on Jeff Capes?
Yes, they would do, yeah.
Crikey. Well, that's a bonkers risk to have taken.
Yeah, they were bonkers, but I had to walk away from them, so...
You're a placid and gentle man, aren't you, Jeff?
I'm a pretty gentle sort of guy, yeah, but, don't provoke me, don't push me,
Uh-oh. That's like the Hulk. You're like you've got a hulky element to you, you big sexy brute. Jeff, we recently saw a TV programme where you had Leo Sayer from the pop singer, wearing a kilt perched on your shoulder. You were wearing a kilt, Leo Sayer was wearing a kilt, Leo Sayer got on your shoulder while the two of you sang the song He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. Jeff,
Yeah, I can remember that, yeah. It was a program that he did, you know, he did with kind of, I suppose, other stars, other sports stars or whatever, and we had to do a gig with him, you know, either sing or play an instrument or something like that. I can't play an instrument, so I have to sing something, you know?
Yeah, did you like having Leo Sayer up on your shoulder? Because he's wearing a kilt as well, so you got very near to Leo Sayer's upper thighs and nude bottom.
Well, he had to try to toss a caver.
Right.
You know, you ever seen Leo Sayer try to toss a caver?
Well, no, Jeff, I don't know what kind of social life you think I lead. Most weekends I see Leo Sayer tossing a caver. No, it's never happened before. So did you like having him there, or did it make you feel vulnerable?
Well, no, it's a bit of a strange request. I think I had him in my hand. No, I've better rephrase that. I had him standing in my...
That is unprofessional. He was wearing a kilt, he was exposed, and you thought, "Whoa, I'll have me some of that."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a bit of a joke, really, but it was good fun at the time.
Jeff, would you mind telling the listeners of our Radio 2 show what it is you now do now that you're not doing strength as a job?
Well, I'm actually help coaching athletes. I've been down to Crystal Palace today, actually, watching some of the young throwers that we're coaching down at Loughborough College. And
young throwers?
Yeah, young throwers, shot putters.
The dirty
which
devils.
obviously I used to do before I did athletics, before I did strongman, I beg your pardon.
You're quite right. Trigger out of Only Fools and Horses was in here last week, and he goes...
yeah, I was even on their show once. Yeah.
You were on that?
On Fools and Horses, where they had a riot outside of the flat, and it was eight floors up.
What
and
episode?
Apparently he dragged Rodney back. He said they were throwing bricks and that and all that. And it was 7 floors up, and he says, "Hey, you know, you're going to get hit in a minute." He says, "Who do you think got down there? Jeff Capes."
Jeff Capes.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the language. I thought you meant that you actually turned up in it, perhaps wearing a kilt, cupping Leo Sayer's nuts. Jeff, also, though, as well as training young throwers, don't you also teach budgies how to fly?
Hey, now you're touching a raw nerve here.
Well, you know how Leo Sayer felt. Yeah, do you teach budgies?
No. I actually show budgerigards as a hobby.
You show them? What do you show them? Leo Sayer's balls?
No, you wally. Budgerigards. Yeah.
You show budgerigards to others.
Yeah, to other people. My budgie.
Would you like to see a budgerigard? There's one in here. Where do you just show them to people?
Yeah, we show them like competitively, like cross dogs and all that sort of stuff. You know?
Right, I'm going to show you a budgerigar. There it is. Now go and look at that one. If you think it's better, you're an absolute fool.
Yeah, pick me type thing, you know.
Well, it sounds nice. It's X Factor, but for budgies, of course.
Yeah, it's good fun. You know, it's it keeps me. I suppose I was going to say it keeps me sane, but there again.
Yeah. Have you got? Where are they? Down into your garden in a sort of a big shed, aviary.
In an aviary, yeah, sure.
Oh, are they all right? Well, how many is there down there?
A couple of hundred or so, yeah.
Jeff, with your superhuman strength, do you not sometimes go up to them budgies and go, "Oh, you're so cute," and give it a cuddle and put your thumb through its head?
No, I don't do that. No. You have them on your finger and you talk to them. I suppose like other people talk to their horses and cats and dogs, and I do it with my budgies.
Just chatting away to them budgies. I think that's quite nice. That makes me feel sort of peaceful and happy inside, Jeff. The thought of you chatting to them budgies. Jeff, now that you're in our lives, will you promise that you'll always stay and that we can talk to you whenever we want?
Yes, I suppose you've got my number now.
Yes, we have, Jeff. We can just bring you up all night. Jeff, can we come get in bed with you? We're frightened.
Yeah, well, if you get in a trouble, you can always give me a ring, you know. You can always say, "Jeff, come and help me," or "Jeff, you know, somebody's going to plant me one. Can you come and help me?
I will
or
do.
Something like that.
I live in a lot of fear. Jeff, also, once on a programme like Going Live, some kids programme, I saw you go on it, right, and there was a panel of little children. They goes, oh, can you, right, who wants to ask Jeff Capes a question? And one of the kids goes, Jeff, you're the strongest man in the world, so you're probably not scared of anything. Oh, you're scared of anything? And you said, spiders a bit, and then you went, right, so, oh, are you scared of spiders?
Not now, no. I've grown up a bit, no.
Well, you're still quite big then. You had a great big beard.
I don't like flying.
You don't like flying?
No.
You must be in a terrible state when you see them budgies fluttering about. Oh, stop flying! Pack it in, I don't like
the old aircraft bit, no, I don't like that.
You're against that. That's your only fears. But also, on that kids' TV programme, right, you went spiders, and then you went, and some other things that I just don't really want to talk about. And I thought, why is he saying that on children's television? Because the implication was that you had some dark, morbid, terrifying secret. Have you?
No, I suppose I meant the flying bit, the flying in an aircraft.
Right, you just didn't want the kids to know.
No, I didn't, you get pointed on and, saying, you're supposed to be doing all sorts of things, you're strongest, and you're not afraid of anything, but yes, I am.
People expect too much of you, Jeff. Jeff, if you were here now, I'd give you such a bloody cuddle.
Oh, dear.
Jeff Capes, thank you so much for coming on our show. We love you, I love you, and I don't know,
Thanks very much, mate, yeah, lovely.
Bye, Jeff Capes. I kissed the microphone. Jeff Capes! I really like Jeff Capes. I can hear him laughing. Oh, he's like Jolly Green Giant. Jeff, he's gone now. Oh, well, we'll never see his like again, will we?
Oh, he's lovely, isn't he?
And he's friendly and warm. Oh, Jeff Capes, I'd like to fall asleep on his lap.
Why?
I don't know, just you'd feel safe, wouldn't you? Unless you started trying to get up your kilt like he did Paulie O'Shea on that TV programme.
Oh, yeah, he's a very nice bloke.
Yeah, he's a really nice man. Right, should we listen to a record of some description?
Yeah, what do you want?
Record. Doorbell, the White Stripes. Yeah, right, yeah, listen to that, stick it on, yeah, all right, put it on. That was the White Stripes doorbell, my doorbell. You're listening to Russell Brand Show, 88 to 91 FM. Remember, next week we're doing the show live from the South Promenade in Blackpool, Pleasure Beach, from 9 till 11. Come down there and see us. You will be welcome. You'll be given free ice creams. I reckon we should get Noel Gallagher to write a jingle to come out of it, so that when we go, instead of it going just play some Noel Gallagher thing that he's done especially for the radio show. Yeah, he's in the studio doing an album.
He
will do it.
That for us.
Let's get him to. By pressure. Otherwise, we'll tell people on air about how gay he was being at David Walliams' party. That's right. Noel Gallagher was acting all gay, and he'll be justifying that later on this show. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but there is something wrong with Noel Gallagher being gay. I don't think there's anyone in the world that would dispute that. Balls, says the headline. Woman jailed for testicle attack. A woman who ripped off her ex-boyfriend's testicle with her bare hands has been sent to prison. Quite rightly. What an attack to pull on someone.
Both of them right off.
Well, let's have a listen. Amanda Monty, 24, flew into a rage when Jeffrey Jones rejected her advances at the end of a house party. Good Lord. What? Never reject someone's advances is the message there if you're a man and that other person is a woman. Yeah? Better?
Yes, better.
But still bad?
Still quite a bad thing to say.
But for balance, do the opposite. She pulled off his left... My God, this woman's berserk. She pulled off his left testicle and tried to swallow it before spitting it out. A friend handed it back to Mr. Jones, saying, "That's yours." Well, what a gent.
I think that's yours.
I think
good luck with that.
It doesn't seem to be in the right place at all. Put it in your pocket. Perhaps it'll make its own way home like a carrier pigeon. Well, ask Jeff Capes. When his budgers escape, they all fly back, But look at this. I like this subheading. You know how each paragraph has its own little subheading?
Yeah.
This one, the subheading is pulled hard. Well, what happens in this paragraph? Sentencing Monty, Judge Charles James said it was a serious injury and that Monty was not acting in self-defence. What kind of self-defence would that be? If the balls would have to have been lowered on you really aggressively. Teabagging, I believe that's called.
She claimed self-defence. I pulled it off and tried to eat it.
And self-defence! I don't know what would have happened had I not tried to eat that ball. The court heard that Mr. Jones has ended his long-term but open relationship with Monty towards the end of May last year. The pair remained on good terms on the 30th of May. What a dramatic turnaround from good terms to ripping off one bull, trying to swallow it, then spitting it out again.
That's evil.
It's quite a turnaround. The pair, an argument ensued. Mr. Jones said there was a struggle between them. In his statement, Mr. Jones said she grabbed his genitals and pulled hard. Why were his genitals exposed?
Maybe he was wearing a kilt.
Maybe he was just a kilt-wearing gentleman, it's just his traditions. He added, that caused my underpants to come off. That caused them to come off. And I found I was completely naked and in excruciating pain. I like that he found he was in excruciating pain. Hang on, I'm in excruciating
That's a good form
pain.
of legal speak, isn't it?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to, like, write a statement. So
Yeah.
that's born of that.
Yeah, that's right. He's not talking in a normal fashion. The court heard that a friend saw Monty put Mr. Jones's testicle in her mouth and try and swallow it. This woman's wild. I mean, she's out of order, but can you imagine the sex? I mean, like, if that's what she does when she's angry, imagine when she's in a good mood. She'll do anything. She tried to eat one of his balls out of anger.
Isn't that to stop them being able to reattach it?
Yeah,
Imagine
right.
waiting for it to pass through her system to have your
Jesus
ball
Christ.
back. Can I have my ball back?
Excuse me, miss. Come my ball back, please. Come my ball back. No, like a vicious neighbour, puncturing the ball and giving it back again.
It is that, exactly that.
She's a vicious neighbour. She's a vicious neighbour. In a letter to the court, Monty said she was sorry for what she'd done. I'll let her off, that's
I'll
all
let her
right.
off, yeah.
Fine, that's all right.
She wrote a letter, I mean, that's great.
Thanks for that letter. Because what happened, when I show people my testicles in the future, and it's just hanging there, one lone nut, swinging, like I'm on my way to a bowling alley with a walnut, what I shall say is, I've got this letter, so, you know, instead of looking at a pair of lovely testicles, you can look at one testicle and read a letter from a liar. She said, it was never my intention to cause harm to Jeff. At what point did you not intend to? Was it when he was pulling hard on his testicles or when you were putting one in his mouth? I've challenged myself. It was never my intention to cause harm to Jeff, and the fact that I've caused him injury will live with me forever. I'm no way a violent person. Oh, yeah, that's punishment enough.
Well, hang on, she better have gone to prison for this.
Well, let's see. The letter added, took on a life of its own. Hey, why don't you say this?
If there's any parties, do invite me.
Yeah, crikey, thank God she's in a women's only prison. The letter added, I've challenged myself. Listen to this. The letter added, I've challenged myself to explain what has happened, but still, I just cannot remember. I'm trying to remember. I've really been challenging myself, but I just can't be bothered. This has caused so much anguish to me and will do for the rest of my life. She's still seeing herself as the victim after she's ripped off at least half of that man's nuts.
Let's not forget, it nearly went in my mouth.
I will say, it tasted absolutely disgusting, that thing. So if there's a real victim, it's me, while he's standing there wearing his blood trousers. I had a real sour taste in my gob.
That's awful.
Heather says, why are some things horse versions of themselves, like horse chestnuts and horseradish? Good point, Heather. Why are they? Because of a conspiracy by the government, probably the Chinese government. Get right out of Tibet. Right out. Let people do Falun Gong. Let them do it.
I reckon horseradish, that grows in horse fields, doesn't it?
What, so,
Out
yeah.
of horse manure.
Out of horse manure. Did you only say cow manure?
No, I didn't.
Good,
You merely
good.
imagined that.
I must be going all strange inside. Monkey misery. This is a good headline. Monkey misery for Kenyan women villagers. Monkey misery, because you can't imagine monkeys causing anything but tremendous joy. A troop of vervet monkeys is giving Kenyan villagers long days and sleepless nights, destroying crops and causing trouble. Earlier, a local MP, Paul Mwilt, urged the Kenyan Wildlife Services to help contain the aggressive behaviour of these monkeys. But Mr Mute caused laughter when he told Parliament that the monkeys had taken to harassing and mocking women in a village. But this is exactly what the women in the village of Nahu in southwest Kyuku are complaining about. They estimate that there are 300 monkeys invading the farms at dawn. It's good that they can coordinate it, these monkeys. 300 of them at dawn. A dawn raid from monkeys. It's impressive that the police can get it together to do a dawn raid on time. But 300 monkeys... They eat the villagers' maize, potatoes, beans and other crops. And because women are primarily responsible for the farms, they have borne the brunt of the problem as they try and guard their crops. They say the monkeys are more afraid of young men than women and children, and the bolder ones throw stones and chase the women from their farms. Nahu, the village's women, have tried wearing their husbands' clothes in an attempt to trick the monkeys into thinking they are men, but this has failed. I wouldn't like to find myself getting dressed in order to trick a monkey one day.
No, I mean, you've got to really look at yourself there, haven't you?
Right, I've got to trick this monkey. I'm going to put on some Evel Knievel clothes and behave like I'm a real daredevil.
Monkeys throwing stones as a weapon. That's
a breakthrough.
That's a big thing.
Like there's Coco the monkey earlier, Coco the gorilla, not Coco our monkey, the Coco Pop monkey. Other monkeys are available. There's Coco the gorilla. He is demanding about see women's boobs, right, through the medium of that guy. And then listen to what this lot are up to. When we chase away the monkeys, this is one of the villagers. When we chase away the monkeys, we are dressed in trousers and hats, so we look like men, said Lucy Nureji, told the BBC News website. But the monkeys can tell the difference, and they just don't run away from us, but point at our breasts. They ignore us and continue to steal the crops. Saucy, cheeky monkeys. Oh, come on. What kind of men are you? Boob men? A new breakthrough? They just point at the breasts. These monkeys know what they're doing, don't they?
So what do the men do that makes them more scary? They must, like, fire guns at the monkeys or something.
I don't know how a man has to treat a monkey to win that monkey's respect. I think it might be some pheromonal stink that a man gives off that a woman simply
maybe.
doesn't, and the monkeys think, uh-oh, there's that smell. It can't be visual. You can't just think by putting on a top hat you can trick a monkey.
I think if you read on, it says that the monkeys sexually harass the women.
In addition to stealing crops, the monkeys also make sexually explicit gestures at the women that they claim. The dirty devils. The monkeys grab their breasts and gesture at us while pointing at their private parts. We are afraid they will sexually harass us, says Mrs. Nareji.
Well, hang on, the monkeys grab their own breasts.
Well, it sounds like the monkeys grab their breasts. Yeah, they grab their own breasts and gesture while pointing at their private parts. We're afraid they'll sexually harass us. Like that's a build-up.
What's going on in the animal kingdom?
The animal kingdom's gone out of control. I knew a time when monkeys would happily smoke a cigarette and wear dungarees and pose for photos on a Mallorca holiday. Now, they want to have it off with you. If you try and have your photo done for Mallorca, say, well, hope you enjoyed the snap, or would you mind taking down these dungarees because I'm feeling rather frisky. Dirty little monkeys. The Kenyan Wildlife Service said it's not unusual for monkeys to harass women. Let them off then. Fine. So, it's not unusual for monkeys to harass women. It's a bit unusual. And to be less afraid of women than men. But they'd not heard of monkeys making sexually explicit gestures as a form of communication. They hey, what am I saying now? Is it a book? Is it a film? Am I feeling a little randy? The predominantly farming community is now having to receive famine relief food. Oh no, it's got tragic consequences. We've just done that story.
Well, the monkeys are that efficient, they've actually outwitted humans.
Put the monkeys in charge of the famine relief, because it sounds to me like those little guys know what they're doing.
Just shoot them all.
Don't shoot the monkeys, Matthew!
Cull a few of them.
Cull them and then leave their bodies about so that the other monkeys know what's happening. Like you, when you went to that farm and showed those little baby chicks, the dead chicks. Matt, when he was 5, went to a farm. Yeah, but it's relevant. Matt, when he was baby, he went to a farm as a 5-year-old. He was meant to teach children how to love animals. Matt what he would do is take living chicks out of their little pens and show them dead chicks that had been brushed to the side as a chilling warning of what would come if they didn't do his vile bidding, which included searching his crevices for fleas, as if it was their job to do it, and he was a big elephant. Like that does happen, you know. The residents report that monkeys have killed livestock and guard dogs, which has also left the villagers living in fear.
Dogs?
They're monkeys out of these monkeys. I don't like the sound of them. I'm starting to be on their side a bit, the monkeys.
Because you're scared of them.
Well, no, just curry favour with the monkeys. Well, I just like it that they're so organised, that there's monkeys, they've totally destroyed a farm, and like, now, yeah, I suppose if it was said they were locusts, I'd go, no, that's well out of order. But it's because I know that they're little monkeys, and I imagine them laughing
Hey,
about
we're the monkeys.
Yeah, we're going to ruin your crops. Why don't you show us some titties? Else we'll do some plobs all over you, guard dogs. The villagers' attempts to control the monkeys have failed. The monkeys evade traps. They have lookouts to warn the others. This is Planet of the Apes of impending attacks and snub poison food put out by the residents. Their spokesman, Cornelius, said, until we have our own village, we will continue to rage against the people of Nashu. The troop has scouts which keep a lookout from a vantage point, and when they see us coming, they give warning signals to the ones in the farm to get away, said one area. God. And then look at this little subheading, Monkey Squad. The town has been warned by the Kenyan Wildlife Service not to harm or kill any of the monkeys, Matt Morgan, as it is a criminal offence plus out of order. Running out of options, the residents are harvesting their crops early in an attempt to salvage what they can of this year's crop, and will mostly be eating tiny little sweet corns, tiny mushrooms, and other tiny versions of normal veg.
Well, how could you battle the monkeys if you can't?
How would I battle the monkeys?
If you're starving,
let them have
your
what they
family
want.
are starving.
Sleep with them. Sleep with those little kinky monkeys, and then they'll just, maybe they'll leave.
No, the last time man bred with monkeys.
Hey! Monkeys! Leave my crops alone! Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, that's just a monkey licking my balls. Sorry, it rhymed, and therefore it's not offensive to do a version of The Wall in which a man has sex with a monkey.
It.
I won't. Matt, you were about to say that men
I wasn't.
You just said, you know what happened last time mankind had sex with a monkey?
AIDS.
You idiot! That's not true.
They reckon it
it's
came
not
from
true.
monkeys.
It might have. Who done it to the monkeys then? A snail? What are you going to do? Trace it all the way back? It's got to have come from somewhere.
No, but that's what they reckon. It was a monkey disease and it crossed over to men. So how did it cross over?
Don't start blaming the monkeys. They're all right.
Probably on safari.
I was very bored once on a safari holiday when I saw a very well-organised troop of monkeys bothering some villagers. I got so turned on that I got an erection before I knew it. There was a terrible, terrible crisis. No, I don't think there's any proof, mate. I think that might even be one of those terrible old prejudices.
Like you can get it from toilet seats.
Yeah, like
No,
that.
but honestly, I think there's...
Well, you might be able to. I don't know. I don't think we should start blaming monkeys, because I like monkeys.
I'm not saying they created it in a lab. They had a disease. It crossed over to men and it warped into a killer disease.
Look,
I'm not undermining the threat.
You're undermining the threat of AIDS, saying it's a monkey illness. You're calling it monkey flu by the end of the programme. Right, okay, and if anything there was offensive, I'm not able to judge, so I'll just apologise anyway. So, right, why don't we... Haven't we got a monkey sex expert on the line? What's the name? What? Who is it?
Roger Mugford.
Roger Mugford, please help get us out of this sexy little monkey pit we've dug ourselves. Are you there, Roger?
I am, Russell. Someone's got to get you out of this, indeed.
Thank God. Are you the man?
Monkeys used to rule the world, you know. There are ancestors, our uncles and aunties, not so many generations back.
Monkeys ruled the world?
They did rule the world, and then we came along and started nicking all their good ideas and best habitats and outgrew them and thought we control the planet, but really they're ready to take it back.
It seems like there's a bit of a monkey grudge, and that's why the monkeys are kicking out in this way through the medium of AIDS and attacking villages, according to Matt Morgan.
I hear all these stories on Gibraltar with the old baboons there. You don't mess with those baboons.
Why? What do they do?
They got voting rights. I mean, that's why Spain doesn't really want Gibraltar back in.
Hold on, that's not true.
Baboons rule.
You're meant to be... Look, we've brought you on this show to be the voice of reason after we've said some things like... monkeys are responsible for the death of Freddie Mercury. Then you come on and behave like an absolute idiot.
But you're one of the most sane primatologists I've heard. I mean, I've learned so much about monkey behaviourology by listening to your show.
Roger, let's first...
You're a top guy. You should be at Cambridge.
Roger, I don't think I should be. I think you're drunk, Roger. Can you tell our listeners what are your qualifications?
My qualifications? Well, God, you know, I've been hanging around dogs for about 27 years.
You're a dog botherer.
I probably think and look a little bit like a dog, but I'm also a farmer and hanging around animals for all my life, really.
You've just been hanging around animals.
I like animals.
Yeah.
That's not a qualification.
Yeah, that is not, because you can't just turn up at university and go, I've been hanging around animals. Fred West done that.
I've got a doctorate degree and a bachelor's degree and all those sort of things, but you tell those to my dogs or cows and sheep and they don't seem that impressed, you know. I wouldn't expect your listeners to be that impressed either.
No, we are impressed.
But I'm meant to be very knowledgeable about all aspects of animal behaviour.
Right.
Meant to be. But you're going to find me out.
So you train dogs that have got problems. Say there's a dog that's a bit eccentric, you can train it to behave in a normal fashion. Is that right?
So they try and ask the dog, why are you biting postman, or why don't you like the wife, or why don't you...
You ask
dogs shouldn't be getting married for a start, unless it's to a cat, Graham
I
thinks.
put him on a couch and get some rational explanation. But no, I mean, like today, I was with a bull terrier.
Oh, yeah.
Called
You
Abba,
dirty
and
devil. I hope you use something. We don't want any more problems.
Seriously, this is clean. But
Yeah.
she wanted to chase her tail. All her life has been about chasing her tail. And she's only 9 months old, and
What a
you imagine
dream.
spending most of her living days have been chasing her tail, and not surprisingly, her tail was getting a bit stumpy and sore.
I'm not surprised.
It was good.
So it was all about frustration and lack of environmental enrichment and lack of predictability in her life. And she's going to be just great.
Lack of predictability.
Yes, they like predictability.
They like things to be predictable.
certainties.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, a dog needs to live in a world of certainty. Why do you think it is then that Coco the gorilla just wants to ogle women's knockers all day?
Well, there's a whole area. I came across a book, actually, and it's entitled Zoophilia. There was a
Dirty devil.
conference.
You've just focused on your
Conference
work.
about people hanging around with oversexed Dobermans and indeed primates and donkeys and all sorts of things. And it's been going on for thousands, millions of years.
What, are you talking about bestiality?
You know,
Roger?
sexual relations between humans and infrahumans, primates and other animals. And, of course, the church has taken a very stern line against this.
Yeah, those squares.
I'm not allowed back in there with Daisy.
It has to be between, and I think it is officially an offence. So it's probably an offence to even talk
Roger,
about it
why
on
are you
radio.
standing
actually.
up for bestiality? This is Radio 2. This is the Queen's favourite radio show. You're coming on here saying that the church should be shut down, not because of the views on homosexuality, but because they don't let us have it off with animals when we fancy it.
But I'm just describing the way it is. I'm not passing value judgments. You know, it's not for me to say who people should have sex with. But there's a lot of people out there,
Roger,
apparently.
stop refusing to condemn people that have it off with goats and that, because it's out of order to the goat, unless the goat's into it. But what I want to know firstly, is why does Coco the gorilla want to have a look at women's boobs? Why don't he look at other gorillas' boobs?
They've got about 96% of the same genes as us. So they are our brothers, truly our brothers, and they're so close, it's just an eye blink away in evolutionary terms. So they think they probably are turned on by all the same sexual issues and signals as humans, including the same sort of vaginal secretions and pheromones.
Hello.
And
I've
visual
never been
bits.
turned on by a monkey, though.
And they will have cultures. There's so much of sex is learned, and it'll just be the same for monkeys. And if you've been having to stick in a Coco gorilla cage, you've been probably humanized to the extent that he thinks human.
He just thinks human now, so he just thinks that's normal for him.
He thinks ladies' boobs are just wonderful.
I'm well into it. Roger, do you think
have
that
you interviewed Mr. Patterson? Where is Mr. Patterson, please?
He said he was a bit busy. He said he had his hand up a monkey. Roger, could you please explain to us, Roger, if you were left to live like Diane Fossey, the gorilla expert, with gorillas, after about the third day, would you start making the gorillas wear negligees?
No, I'd be very detached and very doctoral and very serious, and I'd do just like Diane Fossey. I'd be sending back my notes neatly all typed up, and be every bit the scientist, and I wouldn't get too familiar and fond of them. And I probably wouldn't give them names like she did.
Roger, you are a sexy little monkey expert. Thank you, you filthy little monkey.
Here we come, walking down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
Sometimes we touch those monkeys.
Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly. Come and watch, sing and play. We're the young generation, and we've got something to say. We're the monkeys.
Monkeys, monkeys. monkeys. We're just trying to be friendly. We've got a funny way of showing it by coming to our village and pointing at our boobs, you cheeky little devils. This is from Emma. She's talking about that bloke we just had on, Roger. He's really, I've met him. I was on TV with him. He's really nice and wise and knows loads about dogs and monkeys. Trust him, says Emma. Well, he's nice, wasn't he? I liked him.
But he was excusing bestiality.
He sort of seemed like that was his mission, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right,
Well, I mean, they're 95% the same as us. And
so what's the problem?
they like the same secretions. So.
Yeah, if you leave a man alone with a monkey for half an hour, what do you expect? I mean, you talk for a while, of course, yeah. Give it a cigarette, see what it looks like, and eventually you get urges. No, I liked him. He was lovely, that man. Thank you very much for coming on, Roger, because we just cut him off to put that song on because it seemed pertinent, and indeed was. Hey, Russ and Matt, use them crazy Kenyan monkeys during the revolution. They could be a well-organised monkey army to use at our disposal whenever we please. Peace, love and rock and roll. Paul and Helen Snubrook.
People do use monkeys as thieves, don't they? That's happened in this country.
Well, Indiana Jones' enemies used that little... I hated that little one.
Is this a reference to the 1980s children's
That
film?
one in a waistcoat betrayed Indiana Jones. He thought it was his friend. I hated that little waistcoat monkey. All other monkeys I'm well into, but that one, I wouldn't sleep with that. This is from Warren. Dear Russell, as one anonymous libertarian once said, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Oh, interesting. The restrictions on protesters at the Heathrow climate camp highlighted how private companies are able to use the law to stop perfectly reasonable, peaceful protest. The Protection from Harassment Act was used as a premise to stifle what was a legitimate protest. The law was designed to be used against stalkers, i.e. to protect desirable celebrities, but in reality corporations have used it against peaceful protesters. In one case, some lovely old peace campaigners were prosecuted for holding up a placard outside a US air base saying George W. Bush, oh dear. This was ruled to have distressed the US serviceman. Another protester, oh dear, oh dear, oh come on, that's a lovely English protest, isn't it? Not to get
George
all
W.
most
Bush,
swearing.
oh dear. You could go, oh hello dear.
Hello, you alright?
Dear.
Do you know what I think I can hear in the background? It's Noel Gallagher.
Oh God.
Noel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
It's murmuring Noel Gallagher on before whispering Bob. How are you, Noel?
I'm pretty good.
You been listening to our show tonight?
No.
Match of the day, match of the day.
No, I've been watching a bit of the Reading Festival and then a bit of Match of the Day.
Ah, good. Okay. How did City? Oh, City lost to Arsenal, didn't they, today?
I went, yeah, it was good. It was a good game.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. We won't get entrenched in football as we have a largely female and football disinterested or uninterested listenership, and not least dear old Matt over there. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about your favourite subject, which is yourself.
Yep, let's get on with it. Now, what were the main subjects? Let's talk about that party you went to around Wallens last week. That was interesting, wasn't it, Noel?
What?
You discovered a new... Who would have thought that you, Noel Gallagher, would be a closet homosexual just waiting for the right man to come along, in this case Kenny Goss, partner of George Michael. You two were flirting, man. The flirting between you and Kenny Goss.
Real spark there.
He was... Matt will back me up on this. He was very drunk and he was trying to frighten me. Right? And I was having none of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't get frightened by the gay people.
Now, not that we've got anything against the good old gay community, they're some of our best
that's what I'm saying.
people.
I'm scared, are they?
No, I suppose they're not. But you were having a lovely old flirt with Kenny, he was leaning all over you.
Yeah, Matt.
Yes, Noel.
Don't try and...
Look, you write enough lies about me in that poxy little column of yours, right? in the Guardian.
Yeah.
Right? Don't go spreading. Mind you saying that, no one listens to this radio show anyway.
Whoa, #1 podcast in the country. We've put on 40,000 listeners.
How many listeners have you got? 40,000.
That we've put on 40,000.
I wouldn't bother.
Oi, Nancy boy, we put on 40,000
listeners. Was listened to by 40,000 people.
300. That was an additional 40,000 on top of, I think, the 300,000 we already had.
Your 340 lies about me, Brand. Carry on.
We're not lies, we're just saying that there was a nice chemistry between you. Now, are you going to talk to George Michael about the breakup of him and Kenny? Now that you two so obviously want to become a couple.
Well, what I've got to say on the subject is not broadcastable on the radio. It's live, right?
Well, the things you'd like to do to Kenny.
I'm kind of sat here now, biting my tongue really, because I don't want to.
You sure you're not biting Kenny's tongue?
Broadcasting or anything like that. But if you carry on
Yeah.
I'm going to start using Cockney rhyming slang words that rhyme with swear words, which will be decipherable.
No, you
your
sexy little threat. I've never been threatened with rhyming slang. I will use rhyming slang on
Well,
you.
I will.
No Gallagher there.
You won't be saying that when there's somebody with a clipboard and a pencil going, now, Mr. Brand, you lost control of the interviewee. Name was.
Well, yeah, well, all right, fair enough. I mean,
Right,
he's
then.
using...
Oh,
what
carry on.
kind
Let's
of
talk
rhyming
about
slang
you.
are you going to use?
Pardon?
Berkshire. Because Burke, which is one of the most anonymous ones, is really rude, isn't it? Berkshire Hunt. If someone goes, you were a proper Burke, it means Berkshire
Is
Hunt.
that where it comes from?
Berkshire Hunt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's proper rude bit of rhyming slang, so, you know. So
yeah, but
do
that-
your worst, because we've just done the worst one there, and it's completely innocuous.
No, but let's talk
No,
about
that
Kenny
was too
Goss.
highbrow.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, that was a bit mad, old Kenny Goss, wasn't it? Like,
He was a bit, well, he was drunk though, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He was
It's like, you know what
tipsy.
people like when they get drunk, they get a bit hyperactive.
He was flirty, very flirty with...
Well, you say that, I mean, you were kind of pulling up your top to expose your nipples to him.
I was pulling it
if
down.
That's not flirting, what is? I was with my pregnant missus, right? As you were, I mean, God bless. I mean, you were with Matt, right? Who couldn't be less gay. And
He could be a bit less
the
gay.
guy, G was there, wasn't he?
G was there, we were all there. Yep.
I was with a pregnant lady. You were with two questionable males. While you were showing him your breast.
Yeah, that
I
chemistry.
rest my case, Your Honour.
Yeah, it was a lovely night there, and I must say that I found Kenny Goss an interesting company. He was because I liked the way he kept looming up. And there were times.
He was entertaining. He was entertaining, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. It was an entertaining evening. Now, are you aware, Noel, that we have been talking about the crazy? Well, oh no, you're not, because you're not going to listen to the show. We've just been talking about monkeys. Really, there's a tribe of monkeys trying to take over a Kenyan village, and they're doing quite well. Sexy little devils.
They're trying to take it over.
Yeah,
they're trying to protection racket and stuff like that.
Yeah, they are. They're nicking crops. They're sexually harassing the women there.
They're not the ones that you see in the paper that have been like slaughtered. That they've got them racked up on. I've seen them pictures in the paper this week.
No, that's gorillas. But these monkeys are probably...
They're worse gorillas, aren't they, really?
Yeah, they are. Cause
they're proper evil.
No, they're all right, mate. I think a lot of these monkeys are wound up by the way we're treating the monkey community. We just had a bloke on the radio, a monkey expert, an animal psychology expert, and he more or less said that we should be having it off with monkeys on a regular basis.
Well, you do.
Now, come on. I've made some terrible mistakes, but I've never strayed beyond my species.
Animal psychologists are idiots, right? Because what have they got to base the knowledge on?
Right.
It's not like an animal's going, that's right, you know. Well, that's right. They say, well, if you look at the cat's actions, the cat is actually depressed. And the cat goes, he's right, listen to him. Yeah,
I am depressed.
That's rubbish. Get a proper job, whoever he is. Get a proper job.
It says you sitting around thinking of words that rhyme with Nova month after month. So,
Well, there isn't one, actually.
Clover.
Yeah, but that would be
Dover.
rubbish, though, wouldn't it? That would be like something in a tune, well, from you, one of your tunes.
Hey, now listen, we've got one we'd like to recommend to you. Let's have a little listen to this. This is for you and your new partner. Noel Gallagher and Kenny. Although the intro is longer than anticipated.
A couple of weeks ago, your idiot listeners are saying that, like, me and Matt are a gay couple, and now you're saying that, why am I implicated in homosexuality?
I don't know why people keep thinking it, Noel.
Because you're playing this song in your house. Turn down your stereo now.
No, turn down the radio. You've been in no, damn, Noel. If you are going to do it, Noel, do it right.
I always do it right. Sarah will testify.
There he goes. Lovely old Noel Gallagher in his bright new future. I just hope George forgives you for the way you've carried on. So, well, thank you very much, Noel, for joining us very near the end of our show. Have you got anything of importance that you'd like to relate or report?
You're an idiot.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Noel Gallagher there. Friend of the show, Mr. G, is now going to summarise the show. Stay on the line, Noel, if you've got the time. Mr.
I
G,
haven't got
everyone.
time for this idiocy. Match of the day still on, so I'll see you.
All right, I'll see you later.
See you
Noel
later,
Gallagher
bye.
there. He's off to watch Match of the Day. Stay with us. Okay, and here is Mr. G. Woo! Yeah, all right.
They say that all the world is a stage, so permit me to engage and encrypt in this transmit a verbal trip to quickly say. In a place where flashing's deemed as quaint and market forces lead the way, and gorillas dribble over nipples unless they've been crippled from school days. Does Matt have an infatuation with sweet corn family trees? Do horses have multiple relations even under the sea? Monkey expert information just ain't what it used to be. Perhaps the confusion arises from rides on large cups of tea. So if your stage includes the entire world encompassing primates, boys and girls, next week we'll perform for animal, minerals and vegetables, serving ice cream with a twirl.
Woohoo! Yes! Remember Blackpool next week? No, oh, we forgot to ask him to write us a jingle, and he's gone now. Watch Match of the Day,
And
the
we
selfish
offended him and
pig.
accused him of being gay.
Yeah, but he should, he seemed quite open-minded about the idea. I reckon he's coming round to it. Now, remember that thing I was saying about Warren Kelp? Oh, this is very important about a revolution. This person is saying about, well, go to YouTube and have a look at me being, this person has got tapes of me doing quite revolutionary acts about Spitalfields. Have a little look for old Russ on YouTube doing revolutionary acts. That is from Warren. And the revolution's coming on quite well. Right, here's just a few reminders. China, let people do Falun Gong. China, get out of Tibet. Camden, leave that market open. Or, alternatively, China, stay in Tibet. China, don't let people do Falun Gong. Camden Market, shut it down. Those are, you can take either one of those opinions and do what you bally well like with it. I think I'm going down at 11 o'clock tomorrow to Camden, do a bit of work in there, come down there, flash me, even if I don't bother going because I'm too tired. You go down there anyway and bloody well flash. Get down there and flash your little nuts off.
If you say you're going to go, you've got to go.
What if I'm tired?
Well, you're always tired.
You're always tired, hypochondriac. What is it this week? Peptic ulcer?
Yes.
Right. What hypochondriac. Okay, so, next week, Blackpool, come there. We're definitely going to be there. It's happening. We've got the ice cream van. It's going to be painted. Send us some suggestions if you want those suggestions implemented. Enjoy your life. See you tomorrow down Camden Stables Market. Oh, no, we've got another minute, actually. Why am I so panicked? Hey, let's relax a little bit. Daddy-o. Me and Matt are off to America soon to do, investigate the, instigator of the Beat Generation, Jack Kerouac's important novel, Jack Kerouac's novel On the Road. I've been learning about it, Matt. It's quite heavy. Have you been learning about it?
What, the book?
Well, like this documentary I watched about Jack Kerouac. It's heavy. It's just heavy.
Yeah.
You know? Heavy, man.
Why are you using the nomenclature of hippies?
Because I really like the documentary.
It's heavy.
Hey, I dug it.
You breadhead.
Hey, Daddy-o, you better get to it. You're feeling cool cats. That's a drug. Don't do that. And also, don't have sex with monkeys or any of the other things we've recommended
next
on
week,
this
Blackpool,
show.
the week after that, New York, we do a show.
We're going to be in New York doing
and
a show.
after that, something like San Francisco.
Cool. What a lovely ride. We're
Glad
going
you
on.
haven't read any emails for about 2 years.
I don't trust it.
Where are we going?
Cool, excellent, Daddy-o. Hey, I'm not down with that. I've just been doing poems with a beat in the background. That's the sort of thing I'm into. Yeah, learn a bit about Jack Kerouac. Get into our revolution. It's coming on all nice. Remember to be very active in your political views, you know, not letting things get shut down and not letting China be in Tibet. It's up to you, really, though, what you do. Okay, so thank you to all our guests. The lovely Jeff Capes, Roger Lloyd Pack, Noel Gallagher, what's his name? Roger the expert. Was it Roger what?
Mugford.
Roger Monkford. Mugford. Roger Mugford. How I love ya, how I love ya. Right, okay, this is BBC Radio 1. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, G. Thanks to all of your listeners. No, not Radio 1. Don't listen to that. It says 88 to 91. I said Radio 1. Right, I'd like to say this is Radio 2. Radio 2. Get one, add it to another one. That's the number you want. Radio